said, he says, you know what? He says, I'm 82 years old, I've been 81. He says, I'm 81 years old, and I've drunk out of a colored-only water fountain over half of my life. And I'm going to be there to see the change in America. So it is an exciting time. And I know different parties, we have different views on some of the spending that's going on, but it is an exciting time in Washington. You can feel it. And hopefully we can continue to move this country forward and move. But another day we're here to talk about the Federal Deposit Library and just making citizens informed is what's important. And I think it's so important. I remember hearing Jack Kemp speak back in 1993. And he talked about Erasmus, who was cried because he read every book. He read everything. He was a true know-it-all. He had read every book that was available in the library and where he was from. And he just talked about you can never in this day and age capture all of the information that's out there. There's no way any one person can capture all the information that's out there. When I heard Jack Kemp speak in 1993, he was talking about the internet just coming on. It didn't seem that long. It wasn't that long ago, but it was just coming on. He says, you know, it took 2,000 years for information to double. It took 200 years for information to double. In 1993, he said, the last 20 years, information available to the world has doubled. And he predicted, which he was right, or I don't know if he predicted, but I'd read, he says, by the end of this decade, that information will double each and every year. Just the access to information that we have, trying to digest it all. I mean, government's more transparent. Everything's more transparent. And it's amazing when you look back that 75 years ago, when we really weren't that educated or sophisticated of people as we are today, that the government, Congress says we want information to be in people's hands. Not in Washington, D.C., where you have to come to the Capitol building, where you have to be available. We want it out, where people can have it, so our government can be transparent. And what's always made us great as a country, we were talking with Ed Yeager earlier, while we've always had these great elections that have shifted, from different ideologies at different times, different parties at different times, that people take interest in their government. Where other countries don't really change that much. They just kind of keep going on and on. But people get engaged. And when there's somebody that comes along that excites them or things that happen, they do get engaged. And I think we saw that in the last election. And it's important that you don't have to go to Washington, D.C. It's pretty easy to get there now. Actually, Southwest and gets there pretty quick. But it's easier to come here if you're local and have access to information. And to keep information and store it and have it available. It's not just for us to use today, but the treasures that we have. And I'll close with this. I went to, when I first got there, I went to the Library of Congress. And actually, a lot of people don't know over there, but they use it for information, not really go to the more ceremonial part. And I went in and I said, I want to see some neat things. That's kind of what I said. And I wanted to see the Basin book, the oldest Symphony book. They have that there. And they brought out, they brought out James Madison's personal copy of the Federalist Papers. And they said, it was John Jay, Alexander Hamilton, and James Madison. But we really didn't know who wrote which essay. And he says, look, and you look at his personal copies, he annotated in the heading J.H., M, J.M., John J., J.J., and A.H., and J.M., whoever wrote it. So the way that they knew who wrote the essay, in his own handwriting, you can see it, was James Madison annotating in the margin who wrote which essay. And so, just preserving knowledge and is preserving history, is preserving what we're about. And so, we're not just here in a library today celebrating that you've been here for 75 years. We're here celebrating that our country has made available to the public information to make us more transparent for the last 75 years. And that says a lot of the vision back in 1813 when Congress, of course, our Library of Congress dates to 1814 because the British burned all of our books in 1814. But in 1813, they had the vision to say, let's not only have them here, let's disseminate them out to the public. And Tony Blair gave a joint session a couple of years ago, and he goes, I was walking through the Senate chambers where it's actually Senator McConnell's office is what the old Library of Congress, where they used the fireplace in his office to burn all. They used our Library of Congress books to start the fire, that to burn the Capitol building. And that night, talking about providence of God, was the worst rain on record in the history of Washington, D.C. They put the fire out. That's really true. Because but while I was walking, you can still see some of the flame marks that came from the fire. Tony Blair gets in front of the joint session of Congress. He goes, I just was looking at where we were here in 1814, and the redcoats were there, and he goes, sorry about that. So we finally got their apology. But it's important that we're here, and it's important that Congress had the vision in 1813. And as I look back on the Founding Fathers and the James Madisons and the things that they preserved, and I don't proclaim certainly to be a James Madison, but I certainly know that as a member of Congress, it's my obligation to continue, hopefully 75 years from now,